The December wind cut through the city streets like a knife, carrying with it the kind of cold that settled deep into your bones. Snow had been falling steadily since morning, and now, as evening approached, the sidewalks were covered in a pristine, white blanket that would have been beautiful if it weren't so bitterly cold. Daniel Harrison pulled his coat tighter as he walked down Fifth Avenue, his daughter's small hand firmly clasped in his own. Little Claire, just 4 years old, walked beside him bundled in her bright red winter coat, a knit hat with a pom-pom covering her ears. She clutched her teddy bear, Mr. Buttons, against her chest with her free hand. "Papa, my feet are cold," Claire said, looking up at him with wide brown eyes, so much like her mother's that it sometimes took Daniel's breath away. "I know, sweetheart." "We're almost home," Daniel said, though they still had several blocks to go. They'd been at the pediatrician's office for Claire's checkup, and the appointment had run late. Now they were caught in rush hour, in the snow, with the temperature dropping rapidly as darkness fell. Daniel was 42 years old, the CEO of Harrison Medical Supply, a company his grandfather had founded and that he'd spent the last 15 years building into a national enterprise. He had money, success, a beautiful penthouse, apartment overlooking Central Park. Everything except the one thing that mattered most. His wife, Grace, had died 18 months ago. A car accident on a rainy October evening. Sudden, senseless, final. Since then, Daniel had been doing his best to be both mother and father to Claire. But it was hard, so impossibly hard. He had a good nanny, Mrs. Chen, who was patient and kind. But Mrs. Chen was 68 years old and had her own family. She couldn't be there all the time. And Claire needed more than a rotation of caregivers. She needed stability, consistency, love. She needed a mother. Daniel had tried everything. The parenting books, the support groups, the child psychologist who specialized in grief counseling for children. Claire was doing okay, all things considered. But she was also becoming quieter, more withdrawn. She asked for her mama less often now, which should have been progress but somehow felt like losing Grace all over again. They were passing a narrow alley between two buildings when Daniel noticed her. A young woman, maybe 28 or 30, sitting on the cold concrete with her back against the brick wall. She wore a light blue dress with a white collar, the kind nurses wore. But she had no coat, no shoes. Just that thin dress and her bare feet on the freezing sidewalk. She was shivering violently, her arms wrapped around herself, her lips tinged with blue. Daniel stopped so abruptly that Claire bumped into his leg. "Papa." "Wait here just a moment, sweetheart," Daniel said, though he kept Claire close beside him as he approached the woman. "Miss, are you all right?" The woman looked up, and Daniel saw that she'd been crying. Her eyes were red and swollen, tear tracks visible on her pale cheeks. She was pretty, even in her obvious distress, with light brown hair that fell in waves around her face. "I'm fine," she said. But her teeth were chattering so hard she could barely get the words out. "You're clearly not fine," Daniel said gently. "You're going to get hypothermia out here." "Where's your coat?" "Your shoes." The woman's face crumpled. "Inside," she whispered, gesturing weakly toward the building behind her. "In my apartment. But I can't go back." "I can't!" "Why not?" Fresh tears spilled down her cheeks. "My landlord, he tried to. I fought him off and ran. But my keys, my phone, my coat, everything is still up there. And I can't go back. I won't." Daniel felt anger surge through him. "Did he hurt you?" "No, I got away. But he said if I report him, he'll make sure I never work as a nurse again. He has connections at the hospital. He said he'd tell them I stole medications, that I was unstable. And I can't lose my job. It's all I have." She was crying harder now, her whole body shaking with cold and distress. Claire tugged on Daniel's sleeve. "Papa, she's sad and cold." "Like when I'm cold." Daniel looked down at his daughter, then back at the shivering woman. He made a decision. "Miss, I'm Daniel Harrison. This is my daughter, Claire. I live a few blocks from here. Please come with us. Get warm. We'll figure out what to do next, but you can't stay out here. You'll freeze." The woman looked at him with a mixture of hope and suspicion. "I don't know you. How do I know you're not? How do I know this isn't—" "I understand," Daniel said. He pulled out his wallet and showed her his driver's license and business card. "I'm the CEO of Harrison Medical Supply. You can Google me. My address is public record. I have a 4-year-old daughter with me. I'm not trying to hurt you. I'm trying to help." The woman studied his face for a long moment. Then she looked at Claire, who was watching her with concerned eyes. "You're really cold," Claire said with the frank honesty of small children. "My mama used to say when you're cold, you need hot chocolate and blankets." Something in the woman's expression softened. "Your mama sounds wise." "She was," Claire said seriously. "But she's in heaven now." The woman's eyes filled with fresh tears. But this time there was something different in them. Understanding, perhaps, or recognition of shared grief. "Okay," she whispered. "Okay, thank you." Daniel immediately removed his coat and draped it around her shoulders. It dwarfed her small frame. Then he took off his scarf and wrapped it around her as well. "Can you walk?" "I think so." She struggled to stand, wincing as her bare feet touched the snow. Without thinking, Daniel scooped her up in his arms. She weighed almost nothing, and he could feel how violently she was shivering even through his coat. "Papa's strong," Claire announced proudly, walking beside them. "He carries me all the time." Despite everything, the woman let out a small, watery laugh. "He must be very strong indeed." They made it to Daniel's building in less than 10 minutes. The doorman Thomas looked startled but didn't comment beyond a polite nod. They rode the elevator to the penthouse in silence. Daniel still carrying the woman, Claire holding tight to his pants leg. Inside the apartment, Daniel set the woman down gently on the sofa. "Claire, can you go find the biggest, softest blanket in your room?" "Yes, Papa." Claire scampered off, Mr. Buttons bouncing in her arms. Daniel knelt in front of the woman. "First things first. What's your name?" "Lauren," she said quietly. "Lauren Mitchell." "Lauren, I'm going to have my housekeeper draw you a warm bath. Not hot, just warm. We need to raise your body temperature gradually. Then we'll get you some warm clothes and food. And then we'll figure out what to do about your situation. Does that sound all right?" Lauren nodded, still shivering. "Why are you helping me?" "You don't know me." "Because you needed help," Daniel said simply. And because Claire's right. When someone is cold and hurt and afraid, you help them. That's what decent people do. Claire returned with a fluffy pink blanket decorated with unicorns. "Here, this is my warmest one." Lauren took the blanket with trembling hands. "Thank you, sweetheart. That's very kind of you." "What's your name?" Claire asked, climbing onto the sofa beside her. "I'm Lauren." "I'm Claire. And this is Mr. Buttons," she said, holding up her teddy bear. "He's very good at making people feel better." Lauren managed a real smile this time. "I can tell. He looks like a very special bear." Mrs. Chen, Daniel's housekeeper, appeared from the kitchen where she'd been preparing dinner. Her eyes widened when she saw Lauren, but to her credit, she simply asked, "What do you need, Mr. Harrison? Could you draw a warm bath for Ms. Mitchell? And find some comfortable clothes she can wear? Maybe some of—" He trailed off. He'd been about to say some of Grace's clothes, but the words stuck in his throat. Mrs. Chen understood immediately. "I'll find something suitable," she said gently. "Come with me, dear." Lauren stood shakily, still wrapped in Claire's unicorn blanket. "Thank you," she whispered to Daniel. I don't know how to thank you." "Just get warm," Daniel said. "That's thanks enough." While Lauren was in the bath, Daniel called his lawyer. He explained the situation briefly and asked what options Lauren had regarding her landlord and her apartment. His lawyer promised to look into it and call back within the hour. Then he sat down with Claire, who had been unusually quiet. "Papa, why didn't Lauren have a coat?" "She had to leave her apartment very quickly, sweetheart. Sometimes bad things happen, and people need help. Like when Mama went to heaven?" Daniel felt his chest tighten. "Yes, baby, like that. Sometimes things happen that we can't control, and we need other people to help us." Claire was quiet for a moment, then said, "Is Lauren going to stay with us?" "Just for tonight, probably. Until we figure out where she should go." Claire looked disappointed. "Oh, I thought maybe she could stay longer." "It's been just us for a long time. Papa and Mrs. Chen, but Mrs. Chen goes home at night. The apartment is very quiet at night." Daniel pulled his daughter into his lap, breathing in the sweet scent of her strawberry shampoo. "I know it is, sweetheart, I know. Do you think Lauren is lonely too, like us?" Out of the mouths of babes, Daniel thought. "I think she might be, yes." Half an hour later, Lauren emerged looking significantly better, though still pale and shaken. She wore a soft gray sweater and comfortable pants that Mrs. Chen had found. Her hair was damp and combed back from her face. "Thank you," she said again. "I feel almost human." "Come sit down," Daniel said. Mrs. Chen made soup. "You should eat something." They gathered around the dining table, an oddly domestic scene. Claire chattered away about her day at preschool, about Mr. Buttons, about the snowman she wanted to build tomorrow if it was still snowing. Lauren listened, occasionally smiling or responding, slowly eating her soup. Daniel watched her, noting the shadows under her eyes, the way her hands still trembled slightly. This was a woman who'd been through something traumatic, and yet she was being gentle and patient with his daughter. Kind. After dinner, Daniel's lawyer called back. Daniel took the call in his study, leaving Lauren and Claire in the living room. Through the door, he could hear his daughter reading a story to Lauren, or rather, telling the story from memory since she couldn't actually read yet. "Daniel," his lawyer said, "the situation is tricky. The landlord is Frank Morrison. He's well connected in the hospital administration, as Ms. Mitchell indicated. If she reports what happened, it's going to be her word against his, and he will make good on his threat to damage her reputation." "So what are you saying? She has no recourse?" "I'm saying it's complicated. The best option might be for her to simply find a new place to live and a new job. Start fresh somewhere he can't reach her." "That's not justice," Daniel said flatly. "No, but it's reality. Sometimes the practical solution isn't the just one." After hanging up, Daniel sat for a moment, thinking. Then he returned to the living room. Claire had fallen asleep on the sofa, her head resting on Lauren's lap. Lauren was gently stroking the child's hair, staring out the window at the falling snow with a faraway expression. She looked up when Daniel entered. "She just dozed off," Lauren whispered. "She was telling me about her mother, about how much she misses her." "Grace died 18 months ago," Daniel said, sitting down across from them. "Car accident." Claire was only 2.5. Too young to fully understand, but old enough to feel the loss. "I'm sorry," Lauren said softly. "That must be incredibly difficult for both of you." "We manage, but it's not. It's not the same. I try to be enough for her, but I'm not her mother. I can't be." "You seem like a wonderful father," Lauren said. "The way she talks about you, the way she looks at you." "She adores you." "I adore her too. She's everything to me." Daniel paused, then said, "I spoke with my lawyer about your situation." Lauren's expression became guarded. "And? The truth is, fighting your landlord will be difficult and costly, both professionally and personally. My lawyer thinks the best option is for you to start fresh somewhere else." Lauren's eyes filled with tears. "I don't have anywhere else. I moved here 3 years ago for the nursing program. I don't have family in the city. My apartment, as terrible as it turned out to be, was all I could afford. And if I lose my job at the hospital?" She trailed off, wiping her eyes. "I'm sorry." "You've been so kind already. I shouldn't burden you with all this." Daniel was quiet for a long moment, an idea forming in his mind. It was unconventional, perhaps even crazy, but sometimes crazy ideas were the right ones. "Lauren," he said slowly, "what if I offered you an alternative?" "What do you mean?" "You need a home, a safe place to live, security, and I need help with Claire. Not just a nanny, though God knows I need that too, but someone who could be a stable presence in her life, someone kind and patient, someone who could help her heal from losing her mother." Lauren stared at him, clearly not understanding. "You're offering me a job?" "More than a job. I'm offering you a home. You would live here, in one of the guest rooms. You'd help with Claire, be there for her. In return, you'd have a safe place to live, a generous salary, and I'd help you find a new nursing position if you want one, somewhere Morrison can't touch you." "You're asking me to be her nanny?" "I'm asking you to be part of our family," Daniel corrected gently. "Claire and we've been alone for too long. This apartment is too quiet, too empty. You said yourself you're alone in the city. Maybe we could be less alone together?" "You don't even know me," Lauren said, echoing her earlier words from the street. "How do you know I'd be good for Claire?" "I've watched you with her tonight. The way you listen to her stories, the way you're stroking her hair right now. Claire's a good judge of character. She liked you immediately. And honestly, I trust my instincts about people. They've served me well in business. Why not in life?" Lauren looked down at the sleeping child in her lap. "This is crazy," she whispered. "People don't do things like this." "Why not?" People used to do exactly things like this. Extended families, households with multiple generations, people helping people. We've just gotten so isolated, so disconnected that kindness seems crazy now. But what if it doesn't work out? What if I'm not what Claire needs? Then we'll figure something else out. But Lauren, I'm not asking for a permanent commitment. I'm offering you a safe place to land while you figure out what comes next. Stay for a month. 2 months. See how it goes. If it's not right, we'll help you find your own place. But at least you won't be alone and scared on a street corner in December. Lauren was crying again, but this time the tears seemed different. Tears of relief, perhaps. Of hope. "Why?" she asked. "Why would you do this for a stranger?" Daniel smiled sadly. "Because 18 months ago when Grace died, strangers did things like this for me. People I barely knew brought meals, offered to watch Claire, helped with the funeral arrangements, showed up just to sit with me so I wouldn't be alone. I told myself then that if I ever had a chance to pay that kindness forward, I would. And now I can." He paused, then added, "And truthfully, you need a home and I need a mother for my daughter, not to replace Grace. No one could ever do that, but someone who can help Claire remember what it feels like to have a woman's gentleness and care in her life. Someone who can help her heal." Lauren was quiet for a long time, absently stroking Claire's hair. Finally, she said, "Can I think about it? Just for tonight?" "Of course. Stay in the guest room tonight regardless. Sleep on it. Give me your answer in the morning." Mrs. Chen helped get Claire to bed, then showed Lauren to one of the guest rooms. It was a beautiful space with a queen bed, its own bathroom, and a window overlooking the snow-covered city. "Mr. Harrison is a good man," Mrs. Chen said as she laid out fresh towels. "He's been lost since Mrs. Harrison died. And little Claire, she needs someone young and warm in her life. Someone who can run and play and laugh with her. I love that child, but I'm too old to give her everything she needs." "You think I should accept?" Lauren asked. "I think you should do what feels right in your heart," Mrs. Chen said. "But I also think sometimes God puts people in our path at exactly the right moment. Maybe you and Mr. Harrison and little Claire all needed each other tonight." After Mrs. Chen left, Lauren stood at the window looking out at the snow. Her life had changed so dramatically in just a few hours. This morning she'd been a nurse with the apartment and a job and a normal life. Tonight she was here, in a penthouse apartment with a widowed CEO and his daughter, being offered something that seemed too good to be true. But maybe that was the point. Maybe good things could happen just as suddenly as bad things. Maybe kindness could appear out of nowhere, just like danger could. She thought about Claire, about her sweet face and her sad eyes when she talked about her mother. She thought about Daniel, about the genuine concern in his voice, the way he'd carried her inside without a moment's hesitation. She thought about how alone she'd felt, sitting on that freezing sidewalk, convinced her life was over. And she thought about how it felt just an hour ago, sitting on the sofa with Claire's head in her lap, feeling needed, feeling like maybe she could matter to someone again. In the morning, Lauren woke to the smell of pancakes and the sound of laughter. She dressed quickly and found the kitchen, where Daniel was making breakfast while Claire stood on a stool beside him, allegedly helping but mostly making a mess with the batter. "Lauren!" Claire cried when she saw her. "Papa's making pancakes. Do you like pancakes?" "I love pancakes," Lauren said, smiling. Daniel looked up, his eyes questioning. Lauren took a breath. "I'll stay," she said, "if the offer still stands. I'll stay and help with Claire and try to be what you both need." Daniel's face broke into a genuine smile, the first real one Lauren had seen from him. "The offer absolutely still stands." "Welcome home, Lauren." Claire jumped down from her stool and ran to hug Lauren's legs. "You're going to live with us, really?" "Really," Lauren said, surprised by how right it felt to say it. "This is the best day ever," Claire announced. Over the following weeks, Lauren settled into life with the Harrison family. She discovered that Daniel was a devoted father, but completely overwhelmed by the logistics of single parenthood. She helped establish routines, made sure Claire ate vegetables along with her beloved chicken nuggets, read bedtime stories, helped with the endless stream of preschool projects and permission slips. But it was more than just practical help. Lauren brought something into the apartment that had been missing. Laughter, spontaneity, the kind of gentle feminine energy that Claire had been starving for. They baked cookies together, making a huge mess that had Mrs. Chen shaking her head but smiling. They.